All right, thank you so much. All right, like I said, good afternoon. My name is Dao Jagede, and this is the Blooming Edge webinar. Today, I'll be speaking with Wale Salami. Before we start, I figured that this is a good intro. It says money doesn't produce vision. Vision always produces money. Sometimes we always, you know, think like until we have money before we can actually make things happen. But sometimes it's always, or most times, it's always the other way around. If you have a good vision, money comes. And speaking about vision, you all get to meet a man that has a vision, and I think the money has been flowing since there is a vision to back it up. So, um, without further ado, if you are just joining us, this is your first time, let us get to meet you. Introduce yourself. Tell us your first name and your location in the chat box, e.g. Dio, I mean, Fort Worth, Texas. You can also send your email so that we can add you to future invites for the webinar. We'll always like to know you. So if you're just joining us, let me give you.
Dayo,
Yes.
I know you can see the screen, but could you increase the volume a bit? We can hardly hear you. It's a bit far,
Really?
kind of.
Oh,
Yes,
really? Is it better
thank
now?
you. I think it is. Just continue.
Oh, okay,
Just
okay.
let's
Sorry,
just.
my volume wasn't loud before. I did not know. But thanks for bringing that up, KC. All right. Someone said increase your volume. Akapo, you did not introduce yourself. You are talking about my volume first. Hello, Ayo from Endon, Virginia. Maxwell, co-founder and CTO Scholar X. I think we should bring you on the show one of these days.
Yeah, by the way, Scholar X is one of our portfolio companies. So
Oh,
I'm very
okay.
happy to have Maxwell in the house.
Okay, that tells me why you ask Scholar X and Midlothian Angels here. This is good. This is good. This is good so far. All right, if you are just joining us, let us get to meet you. Let us know you. While we continue the introduction, um, like I said, Wale Salami. Wow, Wale has a lot of things to talk about. I'm going to read. This is the first time I'm going to read someone's profile. I believe it's worth reading out his profile, and let's get to meet him better before we actually move further. So Wale Salami is an American angel investor. He's a venture capitalist and is a U.S. Army veteran and also a tech professional with over 10 years experience working in the military, non-profit, and private sector in world-class organization. Wally served in the military in the Air Defense Artillery Brigade of the United States Academy of the United States Army stationed in Fort Hood, Texas, as maintenance engineer, and he was on tour of duty to the Middle East as part of Operations Endurance Freedom. He is currently the founder and executive director of Midlothian Angel Network. Midlothian is like 40 minutes away from me. So he sits on the board of Utiva, Mission to the World Foundation, Rising Leadership Foundation in Texas, and the Green Investment Club. He holds a certificate in private equity and venture capitalist from Universita Bocconi. He has a BSc Mechanical Engineering. That's the one I know because we went to the same school. And an executive MBA from the University of Texas in Arlington, which is an hour away from me also. He is a member of HBS. HBS is Harvard Business School, Alumni Angel Association. I think we have Ola Tunde Badmos as part of that alumni. He's the Stanford Angel Club and also is chartered member of the Angel Capital Association. And he has a network of over 14,000 active professional angels. All right. Wow, this is that's a lot for one person, I would say. So Wale is right here. Let me introduce Wale the way I know Wale. Uh, Wale was my junior in school. Let me brag a little bit. Uh,
It's
only
allowed.
only you have all this degree and all this university and all this. But Wale is a great guy. I've known Wale for a long time. Wale is a very good person. Wale also have friends that knows him. One of my colleagues at work, Elias, is also part of Wale's network. So I am happy to have him here with us. Before I continue, sorry, my wife will not be joining us today. We have Easter egg hunts for the kids, and we have to balance family and kids and business and networking together. So my wife is out with the kids for egg hunt. I'll be handling today's show by myself. So without further ado, Wally, let's get to meet you. It's good to have you here, boss. How you doing?
Thank you very much, Dayo. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm not new to this house. I've been I've been in the audience like for some time, and so it's a pleasure and a rare privilege to be doing this today.
All right, awesome, awesome. So I'm probably going to one or two questions to Wale. I know Wale has a slide to share with us, but like I said, I wanted to make sure that we have his information. If you want to reach out to Wale, Midlothian Angel Network is midlothianangelnetwork.org. His email is right there, and you can connect with them on Facebook. They are very, very active on all their social media handle. I've engaged them on the Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and so you can reach out to Wale on all fronts. All right, before we get into Wale's presentation, I know I've said a lot about you, but tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, hey, this is elevator speech. Wale, who are you? Tell us a little bit. Let's get to know you.
Oh well, I think you've said it all already. I'm just Wale Salami, a native of a resident of Texas. I usually say I'm a citizen of Texas because some people consider Texas as a country on its own. I am a veteran of the U.S. Army. Um, Most people ask me, okay, what happened? Did they drag you in and, and all that? Most times I was in a new country and I wanted to understand the fundamentals of the country. So I joined the army to do that. I think it was one of the best career decisions I ever made.
Awesome.
I was there for almost 4 years. The army is the only place where you can travel like 10 countries without without an international passport. Don't quote
Awesome.
me on that. Yeah, because most times when there's troop movement, you see the old airport crew cleared out, and they bring in new guys, DOJs, to like process the soldiers in. It's an amazing experience, amazing feeling. Got out of the army, went back to business school. It was while I was in business school I stumbled on private equity and venture capital. So I was an MBA intern at a VC firm in Dallas, which is one of the biggest VC firms in Dallas. It was a short stint before I finished my program, and then I now work with one of the big four in the tech industries. I don't want to mention the name so that some people don't feel intimidated.
we are not. We are not. We are not.
So I don't want to be on the opposite side of that. So let's keep that information out. Yeah, so that's just me. I'm married to a woman. I think that's very important to clarify, given the
Given
given
the
the
current
climb.
climate and time that we are in.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we are blessed with three gorgeous daughters.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And by the way, um, his wife is also a lawyer. So I'm pretty sure she's here with us, and we are happy to, have her with us. Let me see. Oh, sorry. Okay. Omotolani Salami, I'm pretty sure she's here with us. So before we continue, Unamdi from North Carolina, thanks for joining. Richard Unamdi, the co-founder of Byte, thanks for joining us. All right, Wale, quick one. So I see you, either if I check your social media, either 1 minute you are in this conference or 1 minute you are in that conference, or maybe you're on vacation with the family. How do you balance, this life together? The work, the Midlothian, the career, the kids, the play dates, along with the angel investor thing. How do you balance everything together?
It's really tough. It can be tough. But one thing I would say is, having a spouse who understands what you're doing is also very important. And who is a partner. I'm sure that you can relate to that.
Yes.
Um, it's just understanding that there's a place for everything, and yeah, I think I would also like to appreciate my colleague who is joining us from Lagos, FCBA. FCBA makes my life like easier because she literally runs, man. I just come in there and I do what she asks me to do, literally. So that has gone a long way to help, like delegation, and it's like having three golden balls and juggling them at the same time. Whichever one gets to the floor, gets broken. So it's a very delicate balance, but it's just being true to oneself and giving your best at every activity. Of course, it doesn't mean it to be balanced every time, but we move, we keep
I like that.
striving and
We move. Let's move. All right. Speaking about we move, I guess it's time to move. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'll let you, go for your presentation so that if anybody has any questions, I will continue to, entertain all the questions. I'll compile them. I will ask at the end. I don't want to ask my questions and, overshadow, the presenter right now. Let him, deliver the message he has for every one of us, about venture capitalists. Wale, please, over to you.
Let me know if you can see the slide.
Yes, we can.
So which slide can you see?
Angel Investor 101.
Okay, so that's the presenter slide, right? Not the.
Yes, you are good to go.
Okay, great. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon to our brothers on the other side of the world. It's a pleasure. I think I've been introduced already. I would just like to appreciate Dio again for the platform and and his lovely wife. So today we're gonna be doing it differently. It's gonna be very interactive because I'm not here to give a lecture. And interestingly, I won't be surprised if there's someone in the audience who knows or who has invested in a startup before. Just the same way I've been in the US for so many times, I just kept short, right? So I would like to change that today. I want everybody to contribute. So we're gonna do like a question and answers segment. And if you have any question, please just raise your hand or put in the question or stop me. I'll be glad to take it.
Okay.
So today we'll be looking at angel investing 101. And but to start off, I would like to. So this will be our guide for today. We'll look at what exactly does it mean to as in what does angel investing mean. We'll look at an overview. Then we'll look at how to find and evaluate deals, and then we'll be using MAN as a case study. Somebody asked what is MAN. MAN is Midlothian Angel Network, and someone else has asked me in previous webinars that, okay, so how did you get that name? Because I was like, okay, there's no hard or fast route to this. Most angel networks are named after the city where they are founded. I live in Midlothian. That's why it's Midlothian Angel Network. We have Dallas Angel Network. We have Houston Angel Network. There's even Lagos Angel Network. So most times they just assume the name of the city where they are founded. And then we'll also talk about funding rounds. I'm sure someone like Maxwell would understand those terms. If you run or you've worked with a startup before, you get those things. Then I'll talk about our thesis and the metrics that we use before we select a particular company to invest in. Then we'll look at case study. Today, we'll be looking at Uber and Flutterwave. I thought about dropping Flutterwave, given the drama that is currently. Sorry, but it's still one of the best things to come out of Africa. So we might take a little look at it. Then I'll share our portfolio companies with you, and I'm very happy that we have one of our portfolio companies co-founder joining us today. Thank you, Maxwell, once again. All right. Okay, so who is an angel? Please unmute your mic. It's a free for all. I mean, who is an angel? I mean, if you have ever invested as an angel, please let us know what instructed or informed you to do that.
All right, since I'm the first one to unmute, let me answer. I have two answers.
Okay.
I'm like, an angel is the one from heaven. 1, 2. Maybe an angel is my wife. Then, but I've always been curious. Why do you guys call yourself angel? So, but that's just me joking. But I don't know who's an angel when it comes to angel investing. Anybody, please. You can unmute yourself.
But Daya, you'll be surprised that you're not wrong. I've had to speak at a church before, and it was very difficult to tell them the definition of an angel is different from what they know.
You can't
all right.
The church.
I know. Everybody, interestingly, there's a kind of there's a correlation actually. So an angel is someone who is investing his personal funds in a startup. And the term angel was actually coined in Eastern Europe, where someone has been in a particular profession, they retire, they have a lot of money, and they begin to go back to give back. So it's that give back that makes it angel. The fact that they are going back to help folks who are still behind, right? But that term, America has totally turn it around and change it, because these days you don't even need to have been in that sector to invest, to go back and give back to that sector. Well, for me, the story is different because I've worked in the private equity venture capital space. So so I have like a deep understanding of what it takes to to be an accredited investor and all. So that's what an angel investor is. And angel investing is when angels come together to form a syndicate to invest in a particular company, in a particular startup company. And I think the next question is, what are the difference between angels and venture capitalists? Okay, so when there's a deal, when there's a company to invest in, angels come together. We talk with the CEOs. We ask him questions. So I mean, currently in Midlothian, we have about 80 to 85 angels in our network, right? So anytime we have a company that is coming asking us to invest, the first thing I check is what sector is this company playing, right? Let's say, for instance, the company is playing in networking. Like, I mean, they want to do something, they'll probably rival Facebook or Twitter tomorrow. The next thing I'll do, I just go through our database and look for my angels who have that background. Those are the people I'll take with me to meet with the CEO. And it has worked magic every time. Because most times as an executive director, I really don't have to know everything, right? But the strength of a network is the fact that it comes with people with several skills, and we always leverage that to get the best out of every deal that we do. Whereas for venture capitalists are just professionals who manage funds for investors. So if you're investing in a fund, you're not part of the day-to-day decisions. You don't choose what company you invest in. Whereas in an angel network, you can actually vote yes or no. You can say, well, let's not do that company. I don't feel comfortable, and I ask you why, right? But for a venture capitalist, it's strictly one-man show, which that man is called the general partner. In the venture capital fund, we have the general partners and the limited partners. My other slides would actually dive deeper into that. So a general partner is this person who makes all the decisions, right? Who makes all the decisions on a fund, manages it, and most times when a VC invests in a company, the general partner gets elected to the board of that company. So they so that they can hold the company accountable, actually. Whereas for angels, angels, we naturally don't take up board seats, right? But we have opportunities to be advisories to those companies. And the reason why we don't take up board seats is because we invest in a lot of companies. If I begin to take board seats, I'll probably have to resign my job, right? So angels, that's another thing difference. Angels are more like part-time investors, whereas venture capitalists are full-time investors. And angels invest early in a company, while venture capitalists invest like on the later stage, at the scaling stage, right? So we take up more risk, right? And we all know the equation: the more the risk, the more the returns, right? So angels, at the end of the day, take more risk, but that risk also yield like crazy returns when they get it right. When should a startup approach an angel group for funding? I think that will be my preceding slide. So in my subsequent slide, so I'll leave that for now, and I will talk about it in the next one. Then entry and exit. So an entry is when a company invests in a startup, right? And you exit when you feel that your investment has had a good traction, and you decide to cash out, like in layman terms, you cash out. And then what happens when you cash out? When you cash out, oh Lord, it's very sweet, and at that point you begin to distribute money back to the investors. I'll give an example with a friend of mine who lives in Houston, and he was one of the first investors, the first angels in Flutterwave in 2016. He wrote a check of $100,000 to Flutterwave. At that point, Flutterwave was worth about $5 million, right? I'm sure we have some mathematicians in the house. So when a company is worth 5 million, right, and you give them 100K, right, 100K, that means you own about 0.1, right, or 1% of the company. Because they were raising $500,000 then at a valuation of 5 million, which makes it 10% of the company being sold. So you own 1% with 300,000. Imagine what that 100K has turned to now when the company is valued at 3 billion. I will leave you to do the calculation, right? But so that is what happens when an angel, when you hit home run as an angel, right? It's crazy. But before that, before I move on, I would like to share with us this particular principle in private equity. It's called the 100, 10, and 1 principle. So before we invest in any deal, the first thing I do is I have to screen 100 projects, 100 startups. Out of those 100, only 10, would get the money from us. Only 10. That's it. That's the law. That's the principle, right? And out of those 10, for us to really, say we have done well, we just need 1 out of those 10 to be a flutter wave, or to be a Uber, or to be an Amazon, right? You just need 1 to become a unicorn, and everybody will be fine. So that's number 1. That shows how risky it is. It also shows the returns when you get it right. Alrighty. So I think we've already discussed who an angel investor is. I'll be sharing like a demographic of what the industry says an angel investor background looks like. So currently, according to Angel Association of the American Angel Association, they believe that about 7 to 8% of 80% of angel investors globally are male, right? And only 30% are female. I mean, actually 20, because if we have 80-20 rule, right? I don't know why that is so, but I think that it's obvious because it is very risky, right? And if all the women in the world are like my wife, they just like to be on their own, on their own side, are like, okay, you go and go and do the risk, So men are more women are more risk averse, while men go out and take the risk. I think that's what represents the number. But the unfortunate thing about these statistics is the fact that because of this, only about 3% of of female founders get funded. And can we see the correlation? Because because it's very simple. If the money is with the man, it will probably give it more to men than to women. There's no brainer about it. One of the reasons why we started Midlothian Angel was I was angry. After listening to the interview granted by Tope Awotono, the founder of Calendly. That was before he raised his new round, and he's now a unicorn, worth 3 billion. He narrated how difficult it was for him to raise funds, and because I've worked in a VC before, I know. See, it's very simple. If you don't look like me, the probability of you getting money from me is very, very slim. It's we all have these unconscious bias, right? It's not deliberate. That is why if you white, you get more money from the current structure. It's as simple as ABC, because the current ecosystem in globally, has only 3% of the funders who are black, right? So let me not go. I mean, that is touching on a very hard now, so I might become philosophical on that. So let's move on. So let's look at the race. If you look at the race, you see that 87% of of VCs are white, right? That also speaks to the reason why white founders get more funded, right? So, but for me, this issue is not about whether somebody is racist or not. It's also because we as blacks are not. We need to roll up our sleeves and get down there and fund people like us, right? That's the only way. It's the only way to get it out. Then we look at the age. They said the median age for first investment is 48. I think that is changing because I mean, among my angels, I have folks who are in their early 20s, right? I think we don't even do we have anybody in my angel who is 48? No, right? So we are a very young angel network and very vibrant. What I love about this is you can still do. Most investors will tell you, fire your boss and all of those jargons and be your own boss. No, don't be. Please do not fire your boss. If you're making 10K a month, all I need is from you is just drop 1K in one startup that you like, because the minimum investment for us is $1,000. With $1,000, you can own like a piece of one of the finest startups in the world. All right. So this talks about the stories of Midlothian Angel. Our byline is funding dreams. Because I believe not everybody. I don't know if you have heard about the Japa movement in Nigeria. Everybody just finding their way out of Nigeria and all of those stuff. I won't be the one to tell people not to leave Nigeria because I left too. But the problems won't be solved by leaving, right? And I believe you can still love Nigeria from afar. That's my own gospel, right? So one of the ways to do that is to be like an angel, like give back and ensure that folks who are doing something meaningful get funded, right? They don't have to be frustrated, right? And but we started this when I was still in the army in Kuwait, when I realized that I just got deployed. The next 3 months, I had my salary like coming in, and it was just piling up. Why? Because I was stuck on a desert. There was no way to spend the money, right? And when you are in deployment as a soldier, the U.S. government takes care of everything from your head to the foot. Like everything is taken care of, food and all that. So it became a good problem, right? Because the money was coming in, there was nothing to do with it. So in life, most times what we think is personal is usually general. After talking to a few of my friends, I realized they were having the same issues. I was like, okay, let's come together, put our money together, and see what we can do with it. And we started as a cooperative where we're putting money together. We take turns together and we invest in projects. I left the army in 2018, and at that point, I realized, okay, we need to keep this going. So that was when I started my internship at the Blossom Street Ventures in Dallas, and that opened my eyes to how lopsided the VC space is. So at Midlothian Angel, our investment thesis, we focus on underrepresented founders. That means you got to be a minority. Sometimes it's difficult to really keep, right? Because I've had white folks pitch to me before, right? But I can tell you, the reason why I didn't invest in them, it has nothing to do with the color of their skin. It's probably because the idea is dumb, but it didn't meet some of our criteria. And because if I had a very good idea, I would have probably pushed the money. So if you look at it, our focus majorly is North America and Africa. So if you're Black American, Latino, a minority, and you're building something fantastic, ready to fund you, even in the US. We've done a lot of investment in Africa, Nigeria majorly. We've invested in Rwanda, and I think I've done Pakistan. We've done Middle East too, and we have about two portfolio companies in the UK too. So we are agnostic when it comes to location, But the core is you have to be a minority founder. All right. So talking about underrepresented minority investors, I think I already mentioned this point about the fact that Black investors are made up less than 3% of the industry. In America, $130 billion get invested like annually, right? However, out of that $130 billion, only 3% of the VCs, are Black, right? I don't need to tell you why Black founders won't get funded, because the guys who will fund them have access to just 3% of the money, right? It's very, very simple. I think this is an issue. That's why we kicking off with this revolution to change things, right? And if you look at the other graph I have here, it says Black investors made up less than 3% of the industry, and that shows that the principal and their associates and all that. In fact, this is the thesis for my doctorate, because I'm really like this is a solution. A problem that I want to. I think one of the slides that will die there, right? Because I believe in solving this. If we can crack this, we might just find a way to unlock the potential of the African continent. All right. So talking about funding rounds, I know it came up on the slide earlier on, and I'm sure you folks are already wondering that. Okay, so what does it mean to fund a company and all of that? So when you start a company, it's called a startup. A startup. So let me clarify, because when we first launched Midlothian Angel, one of the first proposal I got was from an African American woman. I think she lives in is it Glen Heights, one of the cities in Dallas, under Dallas County, and she said, "Oh, I would like you guys to fund me." And I asked her, "So what do you want the money for?" She said she wants to set up a nail shop. I just smiled. I didn't bother responding to her that we can't do it, right? Because sometimes it's better to keep quiet than to just spoil people's dream. She will probably get the money from somewhere else, right? But we don't fund stuff like that. We only fund companies that are tech enabled. If you have a company that has like that uses technology to scale, the solution, then you're right for us. Like if you're not tech enabled, I mean it's just like normal mom and pop shop. We don't do that because at the end of the day we are after scaling, right? We want to scale and ensure that everybody gets something for the value for their money. All right, so we have the friends and family round. This happens when a company has already like started building and it's got to where they have an MVP. An MVP is okay. I want to make this very very. I want to make it interactive. So Maxwell, please unmute yourself and tell us what an MVP is. Sorry for putting you on the spot. Is Maxwell still with us?
Viable products.
Okay. Yeah, an MVP is a minimum viable product, and it's more like it's the minimum feature of the solution you're trying to build. Let's say you're trying to build a Uber, right? All we need right now is an app that people can push, right, and they'll be able to get a ride, right? It doesn't have to have everything. It doesn't have to have all the other premium final features like giving tips. All those ones are over the top. Right? So a minimum viable product doesn't have that. It just have the basics, right? So once your minimum viable product is ready, right? And obviously before you can build that, you must have put in your personal money. Case in point, Calendly. How many of us know Calendly? I've used Calendly before.
Yeah, we all do. At least
Okay.
now we know him.
Now we know after it became a billionaire, right?
I know.
Yeah. So Calendly, the Calendly founder, to build his MVP, he had to liquidate his 401k, and spend almost $200,000, building, yeah, not just the MVP, of course, that's total investment he put in, but I was just talking about the part where, as a founder, you need to put in your own money, because I see folks come to me and say, "Wally, I need money," and I ask them, "How much have you put in?" He said, 10,000, 10,000 naira, and I'm like, no, you're not ready, because if you don't have a skin in the game, I can't put in my money, right? So the first thing that I usually tell them is, before you come to me to ask for money, we don't get in until like at the pre-seed stage, right? The first stage is the friends and family. If you're building something that makes sense, you would have friends and family who can support you. If your friends and family are the first one to see your BS, and they'll call it out, right? So if it doesn't make sense, they won't give you jack. So that's one way to really, and I've had a lot of jokes on Twitter. Someone saying that if VC asked him to go and raise friends and family fund for 500k, which friend and family does he have that has 500k? As laughable as that is, but it's not true. There are people around you who really have money and they're looking for great ideas. And we all know where they are, like your churches, your association, even some of them are your colleagues. If the idea is good, they will really invest in it. So after the friends and family, then we go to the pre-seed. The pre-seed is pre-seed funding, because I saw a message from Bemley Support. Say, how do you select companies? I hope I have answered that. And how do you select angels? Angels, we really don't select angels. It's open to everyone. Of course, we have our own due diligence to do, and one of the due diligence is that you must be an accredited investor. But that is another story for another day. We always have ways around all of that. And what's the minimum investment required to become an angel? The minimum invested in any of our startups is $1,000. $1,000, you can become an angel. And the beauty of this is you can go on Twitter or Instagram and put it there, investor in XYZ Limited, right? Even if the CEO doesn't know you, because apparently your money is part of what they are using to run it, right? And that's the beauty of it. So the pre-seed level is where the solution is running already. You're already having some traction, right? You're having some traction, but you need money to probably scale it. So at that point you're coming to us. So most of these companies have been talking about Uber, Flutterwave. The first form of funding they got came in at the pre-seed stage. My friend invested 100,000 in Flutterwave in 2016 at Preseed. My mentor, who is based in San Francisco, invested 25K in Uber. That 25K is worth $100 million today. But I'll share more details about that as we go down. Okay, what happens when a founder is okay? I think Dio would probably take this question later.
I'll maybe you can just go through your presentation. Let's leave the question for the end. There's so much questions coming in, so I'm helping you to compile it together.
Great, which is a good problem. All right. So after pre-seed, then we go to the seed round. At the pre-stage stage is where you know whether a company is going to make it or not. But that's the stage they get into accelerator programs, Y Combinators, Techstars. Till date, we've invested in about 8 startups, and 3 out of them have gotten into global accelerators. Number one, it shows that we are doing something right. And it also shows, and because some of these guys, immediately they get into those accelerator programs, if we invested 10K into them, that 10K turns to 50K. Like straight away. But I'll share more details about that because it looks like magic now. Then after the pre-seed, they go to the seed round, which is another funding round. Don't bother about the Series A, B, C. It's just like stages of funding, and at each stage there are metrics to meet. Like if you collect my money in pre-seed, you say you want to get 50,000 users. If you're coming back to raise money at seed, you must have that 50,000 users, or else we are not talking, right? So those are metrics that to meet. And then, so a company doesn't really become legitimate or serious until they get to Series A. Because at Series A, that is where, remember those guys I talk about as venture capitalists, the big guys. They are the ones that come with the guns, like come gun blaring. That's where the VCs come in. And these VCs, they don't come to play. They come in. Like the visa I used to work at, when we look at the company, and the minimum check we write is $1 million. $1 million. And we give you that check within 4 weeks, right? 4 weeks. It's so interesting that, when I go for the board meeting, I have one on Monday, and I was telling the friend, I said, why is it that rich people don't have problem making decisions about money? We make decisions on not to invest $2 million in a company, and it takes us just 25 minutes. 25 minutes. There's no argument, because VCs they come in serious. They have all the toolkit. They've done their due diligence. If you tell a VC firm that you have 100 contracts that you are executing at 5 million, they will look at those 100 and call 10 out of those people randomly. If one of them says you don't have a contract with them, that is the end for you, right? So the VCs are like serious folks who come in at starting from Series A, because remember what I said about 100, 10, and 1. So the VCs come in at the level of 1, right? When you've already you've already scaled and there's promises showing. That's when they come in, and and they put all the structures in place. And when a VCs make an investment, they usually join the board of the company. All right, and then so what are some of the checklists? Some of the checklists when making an angel investment is we look at the proposed solution. The solution you're trying to make, does it match the target audience, right? Do people really want this? Sometimes as a founder, the whole idea is in your head. You just think everybody would, most times, you have to really listen to the customer, be customer obsessed, and help them to understand them very well to build a solution that would solve the problem. And then, is it capital efficient? We look at a company we look at the operational cost. Like the first thing I ask is, what's your burn rate, right? If you want to raise 500,000 and your burn rate is let's say 50K per month, that means this money will only last you for 10 months, right? There was a guy that once pitched to me. He is, of course, is black, but he's based in Germany, and he said, "Yeah, Wally, I want to raise $400,000." I said, "Okay, that's fine. How do you want to use the money?" And I love him. He has the slides ready. Everything was, and he showed me the slide, and I saw salary 40%. I said, "Hey, this one wants to come and open shop on us, right?" It doesn't work that way. There's no way I will give you money to pay yourself. No, you're not running a startup to be comfortable. The reality is most founders don't even get paid until they get to Series A, right? Of course, the reality is we know they get paid, right? It's just that they don't take salaries from the company, because the business literally will take care of you. Like, you can go for lunch, for a meeting with somebody, and as record this as lunch, right? The company will put in fuel into your car, so you really don't need, so when a founder is putting 40%, as salary and remuneration, then something is wrong somewhere. And as an angel investor, those are some of the things I point out to founders, because sometimes some of them are just naive. They don't understand the way these things work. All right, so cash efficiency is very, very key. Number 3 is scalability. Can this solution be scaled? If you look at the main feature of global companies, tech companies that have succeeded, they're usually in the form of a plug and play. It's a solution that you can move from Dallas, go to Atlanta, just plug your laptop, and it's working, right? Or go to South Africa, adopt the stuff, it's working. That is one of the features of a company that will go places. Then functional prototypes. Do you have a prototype that is working already? Most founders come to us, they pitch. At the end of the day, they don't show any prototype. There's no demo. Demo is very, very important, because I need to know what I'm buying, right? If you can't demonstrate it, how would you even demonstrate it to customers, right? And then measurable traction. Traction is very, very key. It's very, very important. And founders that are successful understand this. How do you engage your users? What's your revenue? And then how attractive is your unit economics? Like, does it even make sense? As a rule of thumb, at Man, we don't invest in companies that are pre-revenue, right? There must be some form of, because we are not an NGO, right? We are risking our money because we want great returns for it. Then, do you have a cross-functional team? For me, this is actually number 1 for me. I don't know why it's on the bottom. Like I tell people, I don't invest in ideas. I invest in people, right? Because anyone can come up with an idea, right? But it takes some components, of traits for you to run a successful company, right? And most times, when I listen to a founder, I'm just listening to cues like that, because a great person, with a bad idea will probably succeed, because he will get another idea and make it than someone who can't do it but has a great idea, right? All right, global investment, yeah. Okay, next is, all right. So now I've already spoken about our thesis. So our thesis is more like what we consider before we make an investment. I think that's one of the questions in the chat. So number 1, we look at stages. We invest in, very rarely do we invest in friends and family, right? But we do. We've invested in a company already that is still in friends and family round, because we believe that the founder is my friend. So I said, okay, let's give you 30K, let's see what we can do with this to build the product. And then, but majorly we do pre-seed and seed rounds. We do more pre-seed than seed. So pre-seed is mostly where because at that level, the company has already launched the product, is getting some form of revenue. We don't expect anything astronomical, right? But you must be making money, right? You must be making some form of money, or you have potential to do that. And then seed, yeah, I think of our different companies, we have about 1 or 2 that has done seed. Then industry, we are really industry agnostic. We really don't care what the industry is. If the solution makes sense, we'll invest in it. I've already spoken about region. We do North America, UK, and Africa. And special requirement, which I said earlier on, it must be post revenue, generating money already, so that we don't end up funding an NGO. Okay, so talking about metrics. So this is where what I meant earlier on when I talk about Flutterwave and Uber. So the initial investment, you can see, that comes in like from friends and family or from money from the founder, right? Usually at that level, the company is usually, the valuation is usually between 1 and 10 million, right? 1 and 10 million, and this also includes the pre-seed and seed round. So let's take for instance that. So I've already gone through the funding rounds. I want to quickly point our attention to this. You see at the pre-seed, you see 577, right? The CEOs means companies. Remember what I said about 100, 10, and 1, right? Okay, let me go back. 100, 10, and 1. So at the Series A level, we have 577 companies. Okay, so at the pre-Series A, sorry about that mix-up. At the pre-Series A, that is seed, pre-seed and seed, yes? But by the time it got to Series A, the companies are reduced by 180 to 185, right? At Series B is 89 companies. Series C, what we're saying is these are the number of companies that raise money at those levels. Because as time goes on, the errors would some companies can't just go to the next level, right? And I'll also chip in something. That's why when we make an investment, we don't necessarily wait for Series D before we liquidate our funds, right? And I'll give you an example. Last year, June, we invested in myself and some friends. We invested in a Kenyan fintech. They came to us, raised money at 3.5 million valuation, and we invested $50,000, $50,000, right? At Preseed. Let me go back and show you Preseed. Yeah. Okay. So at Preseed, at here we invested. Is my mouse showing? Okay, you can't see my mouse. So it's showing, right? Okay. So at Preseed, we invested $50,000. The company was valued at 3.5, right? Is it 3.5 or 3 million, right? But by the time the company was raising, we did our investment in June 2021, right? By the time this company was raising seed round, they went from 3.3 million to 200 million in valuation. That was crazy. That was crazy. The company has grown by 11.4x. That's doubled 11.4x. That is 350%, right? Let me put it in normal stuff. So we invested $50,000. That our $50,000 has turned to $560,000, right? So you know what we did? Because that was a home run. What we did as angel investors was we just halved our investment. We liquidated 50% of it. So we took out 250. Remember, what we invested was $50,000, right? We took out 250,000 and left the remaining 250,000, with the company and see what they would do in Series A. So back to my point now. So my point is, if anything happens to that company at Series A or Series B, do you think we have lost money? No.
We haven't.
Yes. No, we haven't. No, we haven't. We haven't lost money because we have, and that's one of the benefits of being with an angel network. Because so usually most companies, when they are raising money, some people decide to go alone. Oh, I'll just give that money to this guy. He's my friend. He will do me well, rather than go with an angel network. Yeah, you can do that, but as angel networks, because we are operators in the ecosystem, right? If I go and meet a founder and tell him you're doing very well, can I liquidate my investment? He can't say no to me. You know why? Because if he says no to me, the next time he's raising money, the people that he wants to collect those money from usually will come and talk to old investors. And if they come to me and say, well, you can give him money, collecting it might just be difficult, right? So that would affect his next round, right? But if you are going solo, if you ask for your money and he doesn't give it to you, there's nothing you can do, right? So teaming up makes more sense. Okay, I'll share more on that later on. So I just use that story to explain why fewer companies are raising money at the higher levels. And as you can see, at this when the company was on pre-series A, it was worth $5 billion, right? If you push in 100K, you would own 5% of the company, right? Like my friend did of Flutterwave, right? Um, but as Flutterwave raises more money, the shares get diluted, right? Let's look at it. You see that the ownership is reducing, right? But the valuation is increasing. Can we see from 100 to 194 to 512 to 1.3? Remember the company where I said we invested in at 3 million? When it got to 200 million, we our money was already like 50 something because we invested low, right? Um, okay, so yeah, so I mean, this just shows what happens, because sometimes it can be confusing. That how come I've seen investors saying, I won 5% before, they've cheated me, it's now 1.7 1.7 that I own. Well, Oga, it was 5% when the company was 5 million. Now the company is 50 million. You can't be 5% again, right? But the most important thing is your investment is increasing, right? It is increasing. I remember the story I shared about the guy who invested 25K in Uber when Uber was worth 5 million. That 25K is now $100 million. Is what that deal is worth $100 million now. You know why? It's because of this. Dayo, I think Dayo wanted to say something. I'm seeing hands up.
Yeah. So we have like almost 20 questions waiting for you, picking. And so I would just say, if you can run through the presentation, because people are also going to get, I'm not trying to rush you too much, but people are going to have more value in that Q&A. And I'm
Okay,
sure from there, more questions are going to pop up. So,
great. We're actually almost done.
all right.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. All right. So then, I was talking about Flutterwave at Uber example. So far, Uber has had 33 rounds of funding. Remember what I was saying about Series A, Series C, Series B? I'll give you a breakdown later on. But they've raised funds 33 times. It shows it's a company that people are taking serious. And in total, they've raised $25.2 billion from investors. This, mind you, this is pre-IPO. This is before they went publicly listed. It's now a publicly listed company, right? And then at Flutterwave is still a private company, right? But they've also raised money 11 times. 11 times so far they've raised $474.5 million. Now they are valued at $3 billion. I told you someone invested 100K. That 100K is doing about 32 million now. I mean, it's worth $32 million. Alrighty. Okay, so now let's look at the Uber metrics on a larger scale, because I like to be very practical when I'm doing this. Okay, I don't know what's happening to my slide. Okay, yeah. So I talked about someone around. So I'm showing this is what I'm showing for Uber. In September 2010, you see they raised 1.6 at a valuation of 5.4. Right? One of these guy that I said invested 25K, his name is in here. Invested 25K, right? The next round they raised 100 million. Can you see the valuation at that round? 60 million. I'm just using this to explain all I've said. At the Series B, they raised 32 million, and they were valued at 346. By the time they were raising Series E, they were valued at 41 billion, right? And then, lastly, when they raised their Series G, they were already worth over $50 billion. So I just wanted to show you how that works. So this is the guy that I said invested 25K. You can Google him. His name is Jason Calacanis. He used to be a scout for some venture capital firm. He found Uber. The biggest regret he has today, that he didn't do 50K instead of 25. Right? In angel investing, you come around that. It's called FOMO, fear of missing out. The most important thing is you have, even if it's $1 invested, it will give you something. All right, so it's not just about talking and talking. We have to share the real stuff too. So this is one of the exits we've made. Somebody spoke about entry and exit. This company we invested. This was the company I told you, the Kenyan fintech that we invested 50K in June 2021, right? As at February, when they closed their next round, we have already done 11 point. Where is it? We've done 11.4x, right? And I told you we sold 50% of that. So what this means is that if you invested 1,000 in this company now, that your 1,000 has grown to become $11,000 in 6 months. That's how crazy angel investing can be when things go right. And okay, like so, a note of caution here. It won't all be rosy. Like it's not every time you make investment and you get something back in 6 months. Sometimes it takes 5 years. Flutterwave took my friend 5 years before they could make something out of it. And sometimes you even come up with losses. In fact, my first exit as an angel was a negative one. A company we invested in Pakistan. The guy just wrote us an email. I'm sorry, this thing is not working. I'm out of here. We move. We got the email and I spoke to her. I said, oh God, that means we lost the money, right? He was like, well, we move, right? Luckily for me, I only invested 1K in that deal. Right? I just wrote it off in my personal folder. Like, okay, that is to experience, right? And it's not about what we did wrong. It just happens. Companies die, right? But this is my gist. I lost 1K in one deal. In another deal, 1K made me 11,000. So I'm fine, right? And that is the way it works. So this is another exit letter coming from a VC fund that we invest in. The company was acquired, and we exited on that. So that made like 3.2x. So talking about portfolio, so these are our portfolio companies. You can see they're currently raising the funded, and then you see our partners. So these 5 companies are currently still raising. If you join our network today, you have access to their pitch deck. You have access to some of the, we've met with them. We've done conducted some due diligence. You have access to those documents, and you get to make your own decision. As you can see, Bookings Africa. All I do is cook. This is another fantastic company. I mean, they're all great companies, right? This Costrut, these guys are trying to create a marketplace for construction company in Nigeria. You need to see the pitch deck. It's amazing. These are some of the ones we funded already. Payday is in Rwanda. I've already mentioned some of them in some of my speech. Chop and Block. If you're in Houston, check these guys out. It's a Nigerian guy who is doing something close to what Chipotle is doing. The guy used to work. The CEO used to work at Chipotle, and he came to us and said they wanted to raise money. I mean, it was a no-brainer. We funded him. And anytime he opens in Houston, there's always a queue around the block. All right, I need to get off now. All right, we have partners too, and I think this is my final slide. Oh, so staying engaged, we have different categories of membership. FCBA, can you put in your email address there so that they can reach out to you if anyone is interested? We'll go through all that. Okay, thank you very much. I think that is all I have for today. I'll be glad to take questions if there are any.
All right. Thank you so much. I think that was really good. Thank you for, first of all, enlightening us on angel investing. At least now I know what an angel is, apart from the first 2 that I mentioned. So we have a lot of questions, and I think more questions will probably come in. I will answer them accordingly. I think you've answered the first one. How do you select companies to invest in? How do you select angels? Did you answer that?
To select angels, if everyone can put a link, we have a link for application. So you just fill that form, and we reach back to you.
Okay.
My colleague will share the link.
All right. So Epsiva just shared our email. And by the way, Epsiva, good to finalize. Not meet you, meet you. I thought it was a guy. So when you were emailing me, I didn't know it was a lady. So apologies for that. You don't know who you are talking to when you're doing email. You just say hello, hi. Hello,
Hear
how
my
you
voice
doing?
as
I can
well.
hear your voice loud
Yes.
and clear now. Thank you so much for the communication.
Lady. I'm
Lady,
fully a
lady,
lady.
lady, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good to you. Please, Epsiba, put in the link where whoever wants to, be part of how to be an angel, or reach out to your to man. They can know more about Midlothian Angel Network. And by the way, I like you guys to share our name, Midlo Angel. I really like that. I think it's unique. So,
Thank you, sir.
you've answered this before, but let me go to it again. Is there a minimum investment required to become an angel?
Yes, minimum is for each deal is $1,000. That's all you need. But I mean, I've had angels who have done 20K on a deal before. They just want to go bull. Like you don't want it to turn to Uber, and you're like, why did that? In God's name, why did I put 1K? Right? Like that Kenya company. I only invested $1,000. Now I'm asking myself, well, but you had 5K at that point. Because 5K would have given me 50K, right? But it is what it is. But minimum we do is 1K.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, moving forward. Do angel investors invest in real estate? People like me are
Okay.
asking the right question.
Do angel invest?
Do your people invest in? Yeah, we can leave it there. I think someone said, Shewe Gunjobi, thank you for joining from Canada. He said he liked that particular slide, the other companies that is being funded and growing. So, do you invest in real estate?
I mean, that is beyond our area. If you come to me that you want to do real estate, I'll just take your number and give it to Dyer. Because if I want to do the real estate deal, I go to Dyer, right? So we don't try to be answer to everything. I just go like Dyer. There's a guy we're going to be talking about after this. Who I met with yesterday, doing fantastic projects in Dallas. That I think you need to talk to. Yeah, so we don't invest in real estate projects. But if you have something that is interesting, probably form a REIT and all of that stuff, we can look at that. But it won't be as an angel investor.
All right, good. Thank you. Moving on. Please, if you have more questions, you can drop it there. I'm trying to run through everything. Is there no? If a company, this is a little bit long. If there is a company that has minority and majority demographic co-founders, how do you treat such? You put some race into your conversation, so they have to come at you. I am not surprised. So go ahead.
Okay. So the most important thing is good ideas will always get funded. That is it. So for me, beyond race, the idea, like if you are my brother, you share the Salami surname with me, but your idea doesn't make sense, you won't get a dime. It's as simple as that, because it's not about because I know you, right? The idea has to be like I shared the metrics already. It has to be scalable. It has to be something that can work anywhere in the world. Like the same way, the same way you get to if you're based in Texas, you go to Atlanta, you don't have to download another Uber app, right? It's the same. Uber works. Your card is still working. If you go to Kenya, when I was in Kenya, I used Uber, right? And I don't have to do anything else. I just need network, right? Those are some of the stuff we look at for in those solutions. If those solutions make sense like that, we go for it. One of the newest company we invested in is a crypto exchange crypto exchange, right? And somebody asked me, well, why are you investing in a crypto stuff? It's banned in Nigeria. I said, well, Nigeria is not the only country in Africa, right? They said the solution is for Africa. That was the first thing I checked. And the valuation makes stupid sense. Like it was valued under $2 million. That means if this guy gets to 20 million, I've already 10x. I just went in bullish. So it has to just make sense. It has nothing to. Race is just like a way to help minorities get funded.
Good.
But the idea is king. The idea makes sense.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Well, this is a little bit deep. How do angel investors avoid cases like Elizabeth Holmes of Terranos? Okay, now.
That is a very, 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 very interesting one. But the reality is, from my studies, from my personal studies, from Silicon Valley, out of every 100 projects or startups, about 5 of them are purely fraud. They are purely fraudulent. So there's no way you can run away from that. But that is where the place of due diligence comes in. As a rule of thumb, for me as an angel investor, there are some deals I don't do until I see other established angels coming, right? Because we also have a network. We talk to ourselves, right? If I'm invested in a company and I really love the company, the first thing I do is I talk to all my mentors in the field, folks who are like, our portfolio is less than 5 million, right? I have folks who manages portfolio of like 20 million. I talk to them and say, have you checked out this company? And I give them the deck. If they check it out and say, Wally, I think it's nice, I want to do it. That's when you will get money from me. So we have stuff like that in place. We also do, but due diligence is very, very key. We do a lot of due diligence. For Elizabeth Holmes, there are some CEOs that all they have is just swagger, right? And it's very, very difficult sometimes to be able to differentiate. But as time goes on, you will be able to like do it. Just look at the fundamentals. Sometimes you will just see it, right? But as I said, sometimes it might not be like Elizabeth Holmes. Maybe if she had come to me, I'll probably not even have invested in her. Because I need to understand the solution. Like that was in healthcare stuff, right? And like I said earlier on, if I don't have a doctor sitting beside me when she's speaking to me, I won't invest in that idea because I don't understand what she was talking about. So that's another thing. Another thing for us, we try to understand the solutions they are trying to profile, and if it doesn't make sense, we don't do it. But sometimes you really can't avoid them. It's part of the risk. It's part of the risk.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. All right. I'm trying to run through all these questions. It just keeps coming. So please bear with me. And I'm trying to wrap up early too. Um, what happens if a founder is coming from a family that is not tech savvy?
Okay, I don't understand what that means.
Neither do I, but it's a question.
But I think what the person is trying to say is like, if the founder is doesn't have a tech background, right? That is why we have titles like co-founders. You don't have to know everything. I have a friend who is currently building a security solutions in Africa. His own area of expertise is security and supply chain. The first thing I told him, you need a co-founder who is a CTO, somebody whose life is coding, who can, you get what I'm saying? Because you know why you need somebody like that? Because we don't want you to use all the money we're giving you to go and be paying top-notch coding talent, right?
Yep.
Because when you have somebody who has all those skills, that's why how they build sweat equities, and that is very, very important at the initial stages. So your background really doesn't matter. The most important thing as a founder, don't try to own 100% of it. Open it up. I've seen founders who want to hold 70%. I mean, it's my own personal side. I think some people are just greedy, right? And those are some of the things we also look out for. Like what equity stake are the founders owning in the in the companies? It's very, very important. Because some of these things they only show themselves in little bits, right? Until 5 years down the line, that's when they will magnify. For instance, look at the story of WeWork. We had a founder. That's even worse than this lady, the Theranos lady that we spoke about. The WeWork guy was using registered another company to, to get a lease on companies, and he leased the company to WeWork. Like he was getting paid like three different four times. Like it's crazy, and what exposed him? Because if you want to go to IPO, you have to do a lot of disclosures. You publish documents like 50 pages, and Americans are like that. Some people, that's their job. Analysts, they will go through. In fact, so there are some podcasts I listen to that they will tell you how many times you mention a word in a particular document. That's how detailed, there's some due diligence, and that's how it was caught. So, I don't know if I answered that question.
Yeah, you did. You did. I mean, just to back you up, when Elon Musk bought, that stake in Twitter that was supposed to be the largest, but not anymore. I found out that, Jack Dorsey had just 2.3% in Twitter, and he's the CEO, is the founder. Out of 100, just 2.3, and that shows you that maybe during all this series of funding, and raising seed, his percentage kept going down,
You see, yeah, you see what I did with that 5% going to 1.4, right? It keeps going down. It keeps getting diluted. I mean, Jack Dorsey having 2.2 point something is not really the issue. The issue is it probably. I'm sure Mark doesn't own 50% of Facebook stocks, right? Right. But the way Facebook is structured, you can't come from outside and say you want to come and do what Elon is doing now. So sometimes, paying good lawyers help you along down the road.
Avoid those. Okay, that's true. All right, moving forward. I think I'm going to stop the questions because I still have like 12 more, so I'm going to wrap up. How looks like people are really interested in this angel thing, and I should probably get into it too. It's hot. Last question: how do you treat co-founders of minority and majority demography? I think this one sounds like the other one before, but how do you treat people like that?
We really don't treat them. I mean, we won't give you money because you are you are a minority, right? It's just one of the boxes to check, right? The other boxes that are still important, which is like with the solution really work. If all your founders are minorities, but the solution won't work, you won't get funded, right? So it's just really. I mean, I don't want to focus too much on that, right? I don't want to focus too much on that because it's really not it's really not an issue. But we are always we are always cognizant of the fact that women have more difficulty in getting funded, right? So when I say a woman pitching to me, the first thing I usually, and this is talking from experience, most times when a woman is pitching, they find it difficult to even say how much they want, how much they are asking for, and that makes me crazy. Like as a investor, like a guy will just come in. The first thing he will tell you is, "Wally, I want $5 million and this valuation." I don't know why it's difficult for women to. So we need to do more. I don't know what we need to do with that to let women to be more outspoken and go for what they want, like be assertive. So it has nothing to do with minority and all that. Some of these issues are, kind of personal and all of that.
Okay, good. Well, maybe we need more female at EPSIVA. We need them to come on board and be involved in places like MAN. If they're involved in Midlothian Angel, they were able to pitch themselves, more
Oh,
better. So,
actually, we're doing our pitch sessions. Like I'm the only man in the room. Trust me, I have like four
that
different.
is good.
And in fact,
So,
one of our attorneys is also online.
okay,
Barrister Folake, thank you for joining us. She's always like part of all our sessions. And the funny thing is, at the end of the day, we don't have different opinions. They'll tell even if it's a woman that is pitching and is not doing this, well, she's not ready yet. let's continue, right? Because the most important thing is we are all taking our money, we're risking our money, so we have to make the best decisions.
that is true.
And that's the difference between me and a venture capitalist. Venture capitalists manage other people's money. In all of these companies, my money is there. Right? So, emotion has to be cut aside, to make the right decision.
Okay, good. So, what's a global accelerator? Is that things like Y Combination? I see people like they're in Y Combination, they're in this. I think there's this company. I forgot. I should have written it down. There was this guy you came to the office. Remember when you came to
Oh
the
yeah, Vesti.
yeah,
Yeah,
they just
Vesti.
got accepted. I saw it on LinkedIn. I saw the guy's
Yes.
face, but I didn't save the slide.
Shola
Yeah,
Musa.
Shola, yeah, they said they just got accepted to the program. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's great. But can you elaborate all this Y combination, global accelerator? What's all that?
Yeah. So global accelerators they are like venture building hubs. They are like consulting firms that helps a founder to refine the idea and they come with barrages of support. Like if you get accepted to an accelerator, the leading accelerator in the world is Y Combinator, which is of course is American. Techstars is kind of decentralized. They have Techstars New York, Techstars Toronto, like it's global, right? But once you come into those people, of course you're going to get funded. I think Y Combinator invests about $125,000 for 70% equity in the company. Right? They give you money, they take equity, but that is not all they do. They also, they look at your operations. They tell you, okay, cut this out. They even bring in all form of
Output.
support,
Okay.
coders, funders, and by the time you are graduating from that program, they do something called demo day, where everybody in the program begins to pitch to investors. So they invite people like us. We come in at that level. I don't do any meetings again. I don't do any due diligence because
And a
they've done all the work.
PowerPoint.
We just go in there with our checks. I'm like, that idea, I like it. FCBA, let's talk to this person. And we write a check, right? Because, so accelerators so for a company to get into an accelerator, it's an endorsement. And it's a big deal because it means you're showing promises. Does it mean you will become a unicorn? Not necessarily, but it just shows that something is right. You're doing something. It just shows promises. It helps you with fundraising. Remember, to really be a global company or to get to unicorn status, you need to raise funds at least 10 times, right?
That
And
was
most times when you get to an accelerator, you have just raised your first fund or you have not even raised anything at all. So you see why it's a big deal because it opens, and apart from being in that accelerator and graduating, you have a lifetime of support with those people. They support you with documentation, lawyer. It's amazing.
awesome.
It's amazing.
Let me put it in Yoruba. The Y combinators Majakuri Ekpe. They will help you align your plan before you go out
Yeah.
there. So I think that's what
They will they will chisel you, like prune you,
they'll make
like
sure
do
you
also.
are ready for the job.
Yeah.
Please, if you are still with us, thank you so much. We are almost done. I always like the Q&A more because I feel like you get the best out of our guest and our speaker. So we are just like a couple of questions more. We'll wrap up. To my next question, which you probably almost touched based on. And by the way, Epsiva, thanks for answering some of the questions in the chat group. What makes a company a unicorn? When we are joining, say, that company is a unicorn, that one is a unicorn. I've never seen anyone that they call a zebra before. So what makes them a unicorn?
Okay, so a unicorn is just a tech slang that means that the company is valued at over $1 billion. So when it,
Oh, okay.
you see, I told you we invested in some company, they were valued at 5 million, right?
Hmm.
Immediately those companies hit 1 billion status, they become a unicorn, right? And we have some companies that are even like double unicorns. Like once you reach over, once you've done over, you've reached 10 billion. That's another level of unicorn, right? And if you're over 99 billion and you're now 100 billion and or above, you get just the same way we rate companies that are valued at over $1 trillion, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, it's just a very very elite club of companies that are $1 billion that are worth $1 billion and above.
Okay, good. What's the cost of setting up a company in US in like a Delaware corporation? I don't expect you to know all that, but it's one of the questions. So, which
Yeah, even if I know that, I don't think I want to answer because I think it's better you meet a professional, like talk to a
yeah,
lawyer to help you do that. You might not even need a Delaware incorporation,
yes.
but you talk to a professional, or you can send us an email. Send an email to FCBA because we have folks that we work with. One of the benefits of an angel investor investing in a startup is we also have supports like the accelerators. Like we have people we work with, right? Like one of our companies was registered in Nigeria. In fact, the CEO is based in Ibadan, right? But because we invested in him, he now has a US incorporation document, right? Because we have people we work with that can help them, do all of that. So yeah, we can answer that off off
Offline.
offline. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna share Epsiba and Wallet's email at the end. Again, I'm gonna put the slide up towards the end, but we are almost there. Um, is there a startup studio in your portfolio, like or is man interested in such ventures?
Mm. Startup studio, send us an email. Let's talk offline. We can. I mean, we have all sort of. Like I said, we are agnostic when it comes to the type of sector we invest in. So if it's something that we think can can hit a home run, we'll definitely we look at it and invest in it.
Okay, good, good. All right, we're almost there. You mentioned a prototype section. Is that like a Shark Tank thing where people come in and they pitch, and you guys just let them cry and disappoint them, or you give them the money, or you give them the money? You know.
Is that from you or one of the
No,
questions?
that was the question. They sent it to me directly. I'm serious.
Oh, okay, got it.
Some questions always come in directly, so I just copy
Yeah, I
and
know.
keep it.
So I didn't get that. I didn't. Can you take that again?
Is your prototype section like a Shark Tank, like a Shark
So
Tank type
prototype
of thing?
session. I can't remember saying prototype. You mean pitch session?
Okay, pitch section. I
Yeah.
guess that
So
was what
pitch.
it meant.
Yeah. Pitch sessions is not a chat tank. In fact, I think in fact some companies and FSEBA and Barista Falake can bear me witness. Some companies that we don't even end up investing in, we even provide them more support than the ones we invest in. Because the most important thing is, so this is the way it works. There was a company based in the UK that came to us last year. They wanted us to raise money for them, but we couldn't do it for some reasons I don't want to disclose. But 6 months down the line, they got into an accelerator. They became like more. The traction got better. Guess what? We ended up investing in that guy. So the truth is this: most times when an angel says no to you or a VC says no to you, it doesn't mean the next thing you should do to go and publish a LinkedIn post and call them out or tweet at them on Twitter. No, the fact that they say no today doesn't mean they can't invest tomorrow, right? So it is very very important that we need to understand that it's not an end, in itself. I have founders that even though we don't invest in them, they still send me monthly updates of how their company is doing.
Hmm.
In fact, there was a guy that wanted to invest in. I told him, "We're sorry, the fund is closed. Can I add you to our monthly investor updates?" Maybe that updates you're supposed to go to people who are giving the money. That guy, but what that guy didn't even understand is I've already invested in him through another source, right? But I just love the way he has handled that, and I'm looking for his next round to see what we can do with him.
Awesome. Okay, this one is a personal question from somebody. How can I join your angel investor? That person used the finger point. How can I join your own angel investor?
Yeah, I think my colleague has already shared the link in the email, and
Okay.
I'm seeing some forms coming in already. Some people are already filling. Some people are not playing it, Dio.
Really? Me, I'm just doing Q&A. I should fill the form too. Jesus.
Yeah.
Let
So
me, you know what? I should probably, yeah, Epsiba share the form. If you don't have the form, I'm going to share it again. It's a Google form, so I've opened it down for myself too, so I can make more money. Let me see if I did. Oh man. Okay, I haven't. All right, Epsiba, can you please share the link again? I think I didn't copy it right. So let me see. Hold on 1 second.
yeah,
Okay, that's
sharing
it. Okay, that's it. So if you want to be part of the Midlothian Angel Network, thank you, Wally. Thank you, Epsiba. Share the form. People have actually pinged me on WhatsApp and they reached out to me directly. Like, hey, Dio, this looks interesting and, I'd like to be part of it. All right, we have like 4 more questions left. Bolu Atife Ashimolo, I didn't forget to, just so you know. My next question is this. How does tax filing works with regards to being an angel investor?
Okay, that is a very smart and sharp question.
Yeah.
But I can assure you, I don't know if one of my investors is here. If you're a U.S. citizen and you're investing with us, um, for so okay, so as a network, as an angel network, we invest in two different ways. We invest in funds that are managed by VCs, and we also invest in startups as angels, right? So if you're part of the fund, you get a 10K from us every year for your taxes. We just did one for one of our investors. The person invested 20K. By the time we gave the 10K, that will save them some few change in tax, because we haven't made any exit. So there's this depreciation and all of that stuff. So which is good. It's good for tax purposes. So you get a 10K, but you only get a 10K for the funds, for the VC funds. And that, I mean, we can always talk about that like offline.
Okay. All right, cool. What is the difference between funded and partners? I don't know if it's going to be funded, but
Yeah. So funded are the companies we've invested in. Partners are people we work with. As you can see, there's TGIC there. So there's a fund that TGIC made that we manage for them. So that's why they're a fund, they are partner. In fact, that's the largest in our portfolio. So it's almost close to $1 million, right? And then there's another company there that is a VC that we work with. We give them money to invest in companies.
okay. All right. I'm almost there. How do you determine the valuation of a company at Preseed? In bracket, MVP is live, customer, and revenue, especially when you are raising from an angel.
Okay, how do you do
How do you determine the valuation of a company at
valuation?
Preseed,
This is a
especially when you
very
are raising from an angel?
this is a very controversial question, but I'll take a stab at it anyways. Number one, from my own personal opinion, I don't argue valuations with founders. Um, but what I usually ask them is, can you justify it, right?
Good.
Because and there are about three, four different mechanisms for valuating a company. It's available online. You can, I mean, it's not a secret, right? But one of the things we look at is your customer base. Right? For instance, WhatsApp has not generated $1. That's the impression they gave us, right?
Mhm.
But it has billions of people using it. If imagine if WhatsApp wants to raise money tomorrow, do you know how what they will evaluate? I mean, what valuation it will be? It will be based on the user base, right? If they have 1 billion users, the thing is, if 1 billion users, if one of them, each user can spend $10, right? That is what that's like 10 billion, right? Is it 10 or 100 billion? So those are some of the things we use. But most times, evaluation is not something you go like from the skies and get. Most times, I mean, a company has to work with an accounting firm to do that. And then we always, I mean, for me, every time you are worth $5 million, my only question is, so how did you arrive at this? If not, and for angel stuff, the reason why I said I really don't argue about valuation, because most of the people are investing even give us discounts. That's the sweet deal of it. Like a company can be valued at 5 million, but we get 20% discount. That means we are investing, less 20%, right? So at that level, it's it now like left. It's depending on personal relationship you have with the founder, some other factors. So most times it's not really like even Uber says they were worth 5 billion. I can assure you, go and check out the investors. Not all of them invested at 5 million. Some people got discounts. So
Okay.
I mean, those are like back deals that we make that help. Because a CEO, a founder will be smart to collect money from an angel network that is giving him $100,000 than collect money from one investor that will give him $100. You know why? Because an angel network comes with like 20 people who put that 100,000 together. And when he gets into trouble tomorrow, he needs somebody to sort out this. I just open my book and I say, okay, this guy is one of your investors. He's based in. So let me give you a gist. One of our angels invested in a company that does interborder payments in the UK, and the guy works with ADB in Ethiopia. Ask me if that company has a problem in Ethiopia tomorrow. Do I need to convince that investor to help them out? No, his money is there. He will do it. So those are one of the advantages of bringing in angels.
Good. I have two more questions left. I can't believe it. We went through all that questions. It was almost 20. All right. Aside from the startup idea, what is the single most important factor man, that's your company, looks out for before investing?
I think I already said that earlier on. For me, um, before I invest in any company, I have a one-on-one with the founder or founders, um, and I talk with them. Most times, it has nothing to do with the company. I just want to know, oh, how you doing? Are you married? Are you settled? Because if I mean those information they go away to like filter the kind of person the person is, right. Number one, people founders who are married get funded more because they are stable. you know,
Statistics is okay.
Imagine if I give that your money now and that is not responding to my messages, guess what? I have his wife's number.
Call your sister.
Right, and I know his wife is academics, rather she knows where he is. So those are some of the things, and those information we can't ask them to put it on a pitch deck. In fact, it's even discriminatory if you put it on a pitch deck, right? But when I talk one-on-one with them, I get those out, and those
Yeah,
are some of the things that help us like close the
that
deal or
is
not.
true. That is true. All right. To wrap things up, this isn't good. Boluwatife Ashimolowo has a question. It's a little bit long, so I want now it's him or her because Bolu it could be either one. I want Boluwatife to ask the questions directly for us to wrap up. Bolu, are you there? All right, good. We can hardly hear you. Bolu, I cannot hear you.
Yeah, maybe you have to help him read out.
Okay.
I think
Well,
his
I
network
think
is.
he had more context to it, but let me read this. He said, listening to your story on man. Bolu, you can back me up. You're on mute, but it sounds like you're trying to talk. Can you unmute? He said, listening to your story on man. That's Wally. Bolu, are you there? No, I think it's the network. Okay, let me continue for him. He said, listening to your story on man, I believe what we are building is bringing something like man online by automating the process. And he did not finish the question. I think he had more to say. So
Okay.
I wanted to
Yeah,
discuss that
Bolu.
with you.
Bolus, yeah, send me an email. I would love to look at what you're building. Yeah. I mean, that's the next level. Let's look at what it is, and we'll see how we can take it to the next level.
Okay, all right. One of the questions I asked initially was from a co-founder that talked about, how do you determine the valuation of a company at Preseed? That was from, a co-founder and CEO of Link Finance. They are working on building banking and finance management platform for churches and NGO. So I think you might be getting a lot of, information and a lot of emails and stuffs coming out of this. All right. Well, that was really beautiful. We had thank you for sticking with us. This has been wonderful. We had an average, people that joined were, 40 on the average. I think that was really good. Reach out to Wale, reach out to Epsiva. I think you mentioned, you're lawyer to Folusha or Falake. I can't remember that. So, we've learned so much about angel investing. I quickly added Epsiva's email there beneath Wale's email. Email. So pardon me for the not looking good over there. So reach out to Wale or reach out to FCBA. They'll reach out to you, or you can connect with them on social media. Their Facebook is Angel Network Midlothian. Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn is Midlo Angels. They are very active on all the social media. This webinar will be posted on our, on our YouTube channel at Blooming Edge later today, or maybe first thing tomorrow morning. So please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll like to make sure that more people get value out of this and we can reach more people. I know someone asked me like, hey, Dayo, you normally do real estate. Why are you doing angel investing? Even though man will not give me money for my real estate. But the truth of it is this, we are just looking for a venue to educate, to promote, to support one another. Either it's, Midlothian Angel, it's angel investing, it's other topics. What we're just trying to do is how can we support one another to grow and to, maybe get to that financial independence early enough.
So Dio, if I may pitch in quickly. So why angel investing when you're a real estate stock? It's because it's called diversity. Even as an angel investor, that is not the only thing I do. Like I have investment properties, and Dio knows there are some other deals that we do on the side. That is either real estate or something else, right? According to financial experts, what they even say is that at least 5 to 10% of your investment portfolio should be startups. It's and why? Because it's risky. Like so, you can keep 50% elsewhere or 70%, but at least do five to 10. Like for someone like me, probably I do like 50, 60 because I'm an operator, right? But it's called diversity. Last year, I lost a very sizable percentage of my stock holdings, right? Because the stock market was down last year, right? But you know what erased that for me was gains from other asset classes. So I was just justifying that question. But thanks for the opportunity.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so. All right, man. To wrap it up. All right, if you would like to get an invite to our next webinar, actually, I think our next webinar is going to be on crypto. So I'm a little bit deviating from real estate for a while. The next 3 webinars is not going to be real estate. So we have someone coming in to talk about crypto, crypto platform like Coinbase and KuCoin. A lot of people, want to understand how cryptocurrency work. So if you'd like to know more, please send your, share your email, type your email in the chat box, and I'll add you to our email, invite for our next webinar. And with that, I want to say thank you so much to Wale. Thank you to the old Midlothian Angel Network, to the Midlo Angels. I think I like that name. Maybe I should steal it. Let me go and what did they do?
Prototype it.
Prototype it and go and register it at the what's it called? EPSIVA, the old man team. Elias Osi, I know you are not speaking up, but I know you are part of the middle.
Those ones are Baba Saleh.
So connect with us. This is Blooming Edge. We're on Instagram, in LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And thank you so much, everybody. It's really great to have every one of you. Have a wonderful weekend and take care. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for having us there. Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Great job, guys. Thanks.